my name is Isabella and welcome to my channel, Between the Pages. It feels so good to be filming and knowing the video is about to be released. And I will explain in a minute, but first I'm going to taste test a drink. Not even taste test, just taste it on camera. This is the Watermelon Wave Alani. I think it's been out for a while. I just haven't tried it yet. I'm kind of excited, kind of a little wary, because watermelon can go either way. I love fresh watermelon, but then when it gets to the artificial watermelon, sometimes it's really good, and then sometimes it has that weird taste that I cannot explain. Like, not exactly bitter, but kind of like, not bitter in a sour way, but bitter in like a flat way, maybe. I don't know how to explain it, but does not smell distinctly watermelon. It just smells like an Alani. Okay, I do like that, I think. I don't think it has the weird watermelon taste. Maybe a little bit, but definitely not that bad. It's actually really good. It just tastes like artificial watermelon flavored something. Maybe a Jolly Rancher, but not that sweet. I really like the artwork on it. It's very bright and summery. It's got little pool floats. I like it. First of all, y'all can probably tell I don't have my mics. I broke them. The part that connects to my phone, I snapped in half on accident, and only after that I realized that it's supposed to be charged, because I had noticed it was messing up. I thought it being bent might have been the problem. Snapped it in half, then realized that it actually needs to be charged. And I've had these mics for a while. Like, I bought them shortly before making my first video, or at least my first video with them. I think I started my first video with the mics. So I've had them almost a year, give or take a couple months, and I have not had to charge them yet, or charge it yet, unless I've just forgotten. So there's that, but we can deal with some bad audio quality for a bit, because I'm not buying any more. I actually can still use them if I get a newer phone with a USB-C port, like charging port, because it does both. I broke the lightning part, which is what my phone uses. So I'm not buying new ones unless I save up and buy some actually good ones. So for the foreseeable future, we won't have mics, but it's okay. We can deal with some bad audio quality. I'm going to try to limit the background noise as best I can, and we'll get through it. Now, I've actually been filming since January. That's what I alluded to earlier, but I've lost all of the footage that I have filmed since January. Now, the reason for this, let's go in chronological order of everything that happened. So a week before I got married, my phone crashed. I had a 14, and I did not want to drop the money on a new phone, so I just went to an old 11 that I had that still worked. So in Apple, I was in a family with my mother and my brother, and my mom was paying for the iCloud expansion. So I had like 60 gigabytes in iCloud of just photos and videos, because I have not gone through my iCloud since I got a phone, at least not thoroughly. So I had like 60 something gigabytes of storage on my phone. And then when I left the family with her and started one with Caleb, my husband, we don't pay for the extra storage. So we have 5 gigabytes of free iCloud storage. And so my iCloud was very much fuller than it's supposed to be. And when I started filming, I tried to airdrop it to my iPad, which is what I do. I edit on my iPad in CapCut, and it would not airdrop. So I thought it was an iCloud issue. So I was slowly going through my iCloud, an hour here or there, every other day or whatever. But in the meantime, I was going to edit in CapCut on my computer. And apparently CapCut is different on computer than iPad, unless a new update has changed it. What I'm used to on my iPad is I would airdrop a video from my phone to my iPad, and then put the video in CapCut and save it as its own project. And then after that, it saves into CapCut and you can delete it from your photos. I was expecting it to be the same on computer. So I put it into my computer, deleted it from my phone and my recently deleted because I was in a hurry that day. And the next time I got on CapCut on my computer, it said media lost or no media found. I think it said media lost. And it would be fine because I think there were 3 videos. 2 of the videos easily can refilm, not a problem. But one of them, I had bought a blind date with a book on my bachelorette trip and I opened it on camera. And I'm a little upset about losing that footage, but it'll be okay. I am planning, don't hold me to this because I'm gonna ask the owner first, but I would like to go back to that bookstore one day and film in there because he has the coolest little space specifically for his blind date with the books. So I would love to be able to film in there, pick one out, buy it, and like open it in the store and do a little video on it if I can, if he allows me, because I'm gonna be respectful and ask first. But if I do that, I'm gonna put a little section at the end of it showing the book that I opened first and maybe summarize my first impressions and the short few things that I said at the end after reading the book. So all is not lost on that front. I can turn it around and fix it a little bit. But then my phone I couldn't use some apps because of the old update. The newest update that it had was like 18 something and the newest update is like 26. So like big gap there. So I wasn't gonna update it because it takes a lot of space, and with mine being 11, it doesn't have as much space as the newer phones do. The newer updates take a lot of space up, but I couldn't use some apps, or some of my apps weren't working right. I couldn't use Etsy at all. One of my financing apps, I could not log in and change anything with it. And what else? Oh, Dropbox. My church, the choir, uses Dropbox to put like the lyrics to the new songs we're learning, the parts and everything in it. And I wasn't getting any of the new songs. Now that I've updated my phone, I'm getting the new songs. I'm pretty sure it was just the update issue. Like I couldn't even get the newest update of some apps because my phone update was so old. So I finally updated it. And first of all, just the system stuff of my phone takes up like 1/4 of my space. But that's besides the point. So I updated it, and then today I tried to airdrop. Lo and behold, I can airdrop things. So I think it was just my update. It wasn't my iCloud this whole time. It was the iPhone update. So if I'd have just not waited to update my phone, I could have potentially been releasing videos this whole time, but it's okay. I've learned my lesson. I think I'm just a very clumsy person, not physically like tripping over air, but clumsy when it comes to how I do things. Because this is not the first time that I have lost footage. I've done it before. I don't know if I've explained it. I don't care to explain it if I haven't. Yeah. I think that's all that there is to say as far as that, why it's taken me so long to get back into things, because I was going to hit the ground running in January, and that ended up not happening, but here we are. Also, there's someone blowing leaves outside. If y'all can hear that, I sincerely apologize. I've been trying to film for 2 hours now. There was some commotion in the background. So like actually the intro was filmed like an hour ago, and I've been waiting for the commotion to end. And now there's a leaf blowing outside. So if y'all can hear it, I'm very sorry, but I'm not stopping now. But one actual channel update before I get into the haul. I've been talking about the Convincing You to Read series. I'm still doing it. I'm just changing the name. Now it's going to be called The Plot. So in the YouTube title, it's just going to be The Plot, a colon, I believe it's called, the 2 dots, and then the title of the book and the author name. The reason for this is on YouTube, unless you click on the video, and sometimes not even then, you can't see the whole title when you're just scrolling. And Convincing You to Read is a long, like it takes up a lot of characters. It's going to take up a lot of space. So by the time that's over with, you probably can't even see the whole title of the book. And yeah, I'm gonna have either a picture of the book or the title on the little picture. What is that called? I know what it's called. I just can't think of it. Whatever that is. I'm gonna have it on that, but still, I would like the title of the book that I am telling the plot of to be more visible. Like, y'all, it's been so long since I've uploaded a video that I don't even remember. I think on the rest of my YouTube videos, I do review or book review, and then the title. So it fits in. So that's why I'm changing it. So you can see more of the name of the book before like clicking on the video. But it also opens up the doors for me to actually do a convincing you to read of a book. I'm not going to do it for every book, but books that I particularly like, I would love to deep dive into the things that I really love about the book, or a whole series. I probably won't do individual books. I may do a series unless it's a very deep book or a deep series like The Hunger Games. Every book, I would be delighted to give every book its own 3-hour breakdown. Probably not actually going to do that, but I love The Hunger Games enough that I would do that. So it allows me to actually do a whole other series, and I can actually convince you to read it and tell you about all the things that I love about it. Even deeper than I do in the reviews. So I think with that being said, I'm going to get into the haul. I have 4 books. 3 of them is actually like a Valentine's Day haul, and then one I found like 2 weeks later, so I'm throwing it in there. Now for the Valentine's Day, I'm just going to go in the order that I found them in the store. My husband took me, well, we kind of took each other on a date, because we went to Harbor Freight for him so he could look around, and then he took me, I think we got coffee. We did get coffee. We got coffee, and then went to a bookstore, went out to eat. It was fun. It was amazing. And I was not planning on buying any books. I told him I didn't really care to buy any. I just wanted to go and look around because I haven't been in a bookstore in so long. We've been saving money for getting married, and I just wanted to go look because I love bookstores. So he took me to La Maria. It's in Jackson, Mississippi. It's in Jackson. I don't know how common this is in Mississippi, but in the group of people that I hang out with and that I know, everything around Jackson is Jackson. Flowood, Pearl, Jackson, Ridgeland, Madison. It's all Brandon. It's all Jackson. And maybe it's just my friend group. When we were younger, we didn't know the distinctions. It may not be common, but for me, Jackson, everything's Jackson. But I do know people from Jackson, and they are very insistent that Jackson is not the same as Flowood or Pearl or Brandon or Madison or Ridgeland. Like, they're very insistent. So I don't know how common this is. But if I say Jackson, it may not actually mean Jackson. It may mean Flowood or Pearl. And when I say Jackson, it's actually Jackson. So don't know how common that is. But in my little friend group, and the people that I know, that's how we refer to Jackson. But I believe La Maria is in Jackson. Like, it's actually in Jackson. Actually, let me look. They gave me a bookmark. One good thing about this place, Jackson, Mississippi. So with this place, it's brand new books, but it has the feel of an old bookstore. There are floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. They have antique furniture in different areas of the bookstore that you can just sit if you want to. And it's amazing. I love it. So he took me there, and we looked around, and there were 3 books in particular that I really pointed out and I really showed interest in, and he grabbed them and bought them for me. So very sweet. I wasn't planning on buying any, but I got some, so I'm gonna show them to y'all. Now this first one, the author really is what drew me to it. This is Framed by John Grisham. He's the one that drew me to it, and Jim McCloskey. Astonishing True Stories of Wrongful Convictions. Now, John Grisham, from what I know, he's mainly a court law fiction writer. This is the first nonfiction book that I know of that he's written, and that's what drew me to it. But he just come out with a new book. I forget what it's called. It's either The Witness. No, I think that might be an older one. Or it's maybe The Widow. Maybe not that either. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck on W's. So, I don't know. He just come out with a new one. Like, it feels like a couple months ago. I don't really know when it was. So I was surprised to see this one, but then I saw true stories of wrongful convictions. Wrongful convictions are something that I find very interesting. I don't know why. I like true crime things, but it's so interesting to me that people can be wrongfully accused. I don't know what kind of cases that this book covers or how old the cases are, but nowadays, to me, in my limited knowledge of the law world, yes, you can be wrongfully convicted, but I feel like more guilty people, like it's easier to exonerate a guilty person than it is to wrongfully convict an innocent person, in my opinion, because we have so much technology in forensics and like law related things that if you did a crime, especially like doing away with someone, the M word, I don't know if you can say it on YouTube, or something where you leave behind DNA. Like DNA testing is so advanced that it's hard to not leave some form of DNA that is traceable in any area. And then we have cameras all over the place. Like, it is so hard to commit a crime and get away with it. And that's why wrongful convictions is so interesting to me, because like, not that I want to go out and commit a crime and get away with it, but I just think it's so interesting because in my mind it is so hard to commit a crime and get away with it unless it's something like petty theft or, you know, something small. But I feel like John Grisham and Jim McCloskey, I don't know him, but I don't think that they're just gonna go into petty crime cases. Like, it's gonna be big cases like doing away with somebody cases, or cases that were really hard to put an innocent person in jail. So that's why I was very interested in it. And this is the first one I saw like right as we walked in and showed interest in it, and then Caleb grabbed it for me. And it's also a signed copy, which is interesting. I'm gonna read the summary. A fundamental principle of our legal system is a presumption of innocence, but once someone has been found guilty, there is very little room to prove doubt. Framed shares 10 true stories of Americans who were innocent but found guilty and forced to sacrifice friends, families, and decades of their lives to prison while the guilty parties remained free. In each of the stories, John Grisham and Jim McCloskey recount the dramatic, hard-fought battles for exoneration. They take a close look at what leads to wrongful convictions in the first place and the racism, misconduct, flawed testimony, and corruption in the court system that can make them so hard to reverse. Told with page-turning suspense as only John Grisham can deliver, Framed is the story of winning freedom when the battle already seems lost and the deck is stacked against you. Oh my gosh, I did not expect John Grisham to look like that. I don't know what I expected. I don't know. And this is Jim McCloskey. I don't know anything about him. Oh, that's cool. He founded an organization that's devoted to freeing wrongfully convicted people. Okay, so that's why I didn't know if he was like another author. I don't know. But John Grisham is very famous, so I'm not gonna go over who he is. So very interested to start this one. Now, the next one is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy? One of the two. I'm sorry, Charlotte, but I don't know how to say your last name. It's not going to be like McConaghy. Sorry for the lighting, and I am editing right now. It actually is Charlotte McConaghy. She's Australian, and that's how she pronounced her name. So I was wrong. Jokes on myself. Very sorry, but thought I'd throw it in here. It is Charlotte McConaghy. I don't know. Very sorry. I don't know how to pronounce it. So this book, I actually watched a video. The video was released a year ago. It's Haley Pham. If I can link the video in my description or something, I will. She makes book content. Her husband is actually Ryan Trahan, who also makes YouTube content, just not of the book sort. But I watched her video, and it was sponsored by Book of the Month. She actually went to Book of the Month headquarters, and this was the book that was recommended to her. She got a copy and read it. That's where I saw this book, And for some reason, the cover really like stood out to me. So I remembered what the cover looked like. I saw it in Lemuria, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a book that Haley Pham reviewed. It's Ryan Trahan's wife, and Caleb knew who that was because we may or may not watch Ryan Trahan occasionally together. So his content is very like kind of childish, but it's family friendly. It's clean, so it's nice. But I saw this, so I've already known about this book, and it's kind of been on my radar, kind of been on my wish list, but I haven't really dropped the money to get it. Like, it wasn't one that I'm like, I will order it online now because I need it so bad. So from what I remembered of the video, it's about like a secluded island and a family of scientists, and she said something about iguanas, which is not in the summary, so I don't know. But I was very interested in this one, and I don't know why Caleb got it for me. I guess because I was telling him about it and I knew about it. I did show interest in it. I'm very excited that I found it. So now I'll read the summary. Dominic Salt and his 3 children are caretakers of Shearwater, a tiny island not far from Antarctica. Home to the world's largest seed bank, Shearwater was once full of researchers, but with sea levels rising, the Salts are now its final inhabitants. Until, during the worst storm the island has ever seen, a woman mysteriously washes ashore. Isolation has taken its toll on the Salts, but as they nurse the woman, Rowan, back to strength, it begins to feel like she might just be what they need. Rowan, long accustomed to protecting herself, starts imagining a future where she could belong to someone again. But Rowan isn't telling the whole truth about why she set out for Shearwater, and when she discovers sabotaged radios and a freshly dug grave, she realizes Dominic is keeping his own secrets. As the storms on Shearwater gather force, they all must decide if they can trust one another enough to protect the precious seeds in their care before it's too late, and if they can finally put the tragedies of the past behind them to create something new together. A novel of breathtaking twists, dizzying beauty, and ferocious love, Wild Dark Shore is about the impossible choices we make to protect the people we love, even as the world around us disappears. I didn't even read the summary of this in the store. I skimmed the first paragraph of it, talking about the island, and then I think the part about Rowan washing ashore, and I was like, yep, this is the book 100%. And so I did not see the part of the end about, like, it's hinting at Rowan and Dominic falling in love, maybe. So I hope there's no explicit things in here, but we shall see. Now, next we have The Heart of Winter by Jonathan Evison. This book, the cover is what drew me to this one. Haven't heard the author as far as I remember, haven't heard the book as far as I remember, but you see on the cover is what appears to be an older couple dancing, and that is what drew me to this book. I'm gonna get a little transparent, although everyone who watches my videos right now know me personally, so it's not really that transparent because y'all all know this about me. But I don't have a dad present in my life. He hasn't been present since I was like 2. So I grew up without a father figure in my home. My grandparents also got a divorce before I was even born, like when my mom was in high school. So I've never really had the best image of a healthy, long-lasting marriage. The only people that I know of are people in my church. So there are quite a few older couples in my church that I actually look up to because I've never seen a marriage that stuck together. I don't see the day-to-day things. So it's always very interesting to me how people can choose every day through everything to still stay together. Now, I will preface this by saying I'm apostolic. I believe that marriages are meant to stick together. And I do believe that if you and your spouse have God and keep Him center, your marriage will stick together. Now, obviously, there were crazy circumstances, but in my opinion, a lot of the reasons that marriages do break up still, even if you are in church, is because one of those people quit making God their priority. So, I know that's the answer, but it still interests me to see people choose their spouse day after day. And another, y'all know Dave Ramsey, right? He has his like company or whatever is called Ramsey Solutions. Well, he has a YouTube podcast, whatever, that's people call in about finance. Well, he's got another show. There's another show under Ramsey Solutions, and it's the John Deloney show. I think John Deloney is like a psychiatrist, therapist. He's something. He's a doctor or something. I think it's the Dr. John Deloney show. Anyways, so I don't watch him regularly, but I've seen a few like clips or episodes of his call-in podcast. I've seen a few clips. I'm interested in how the human mind works and psychology and all of that. And I've heard him say that when you marry someone and you choose to do life with them, you end up marrying several versions of this person. So naturally, as we grow and we get older, we change. I don't like the same things I liked when I was a little kid. I had a different favorite color. I had a different favorite food. I liked different music then. So you change as you grow older. And as big things in your life happen, you change into a new person. As you meet someone to get married, as you have kids, as you have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. As you go through big life things, you change as a person. And you just, change the things you like. So when you marry someone and you choose that person, you choose to love them, but also as y'all both grow and change together, you have to choose to love this new version of this person, if that makes sense. And I like the thought of that because different life events can make people change. Obviously, when you lose a parent, if your parent has been such a big part of your life, you change once they're gone. So I've heard him say that. Hearing that, it's interesting to me to see people who've been married 60 years in my church, 40 years in my church, and they've choose to love each other and to love the new versions of people or of their spouse, even though they're the same person, yeah, but as you both change, you have to choose to change together. So all of that is interesting to me. And then I read the summary of this, and I don't know, I thought it would be a very interesting read. So I'm going to read the summary for you. The extraordinary new novel by Jonathan Evison about a married couple in their golden years from when they met across big ups, deep downs, and survive it all. Opposites attract love. Abe Winter and Ruth Warnick were never meant to be together, at least if you ask Ruth. Yet their catastrophic blind date in college evolved into a 70-year marriage and a life on a farm on Bainbridge Island with their hens and beloved Labrador Megs. Through the years, the Winters have fallen in and out of lockstep, and from their haunting losses and guarded secrets, a dependable partnership has been forged. But when Ruth's loose tooth turns out to be something much more malicious, the beautiful, reliable life they've created together comes to a crisis. As Ruth struggles with her crumbling independence, Abe must learn how to take care of her, while their 3 living children question his ability to look after his wife. And once again, the couple has to reconfigure how to be there for each other. In this big-hearted and profound portrait of a marriage, Jonathan Evison explores 70 years of big moments in subtle ways, elegantly braiding the Winters' turbulent history with their present-day battles, showing us how the oddly paired college kids became parents, fell apart and back together, and grew into the Abe and Ruth of today. Endlessly heartwarming and moving, The Heart of Winter is a reminder that true love lies in small, everyday moments. So yeah, I just thought it would be very interesting to read this book because it goes through the different things that have happened in their life and how they've kind of drifted apart, but then drifted back together. And yeah, like I said, with the whole you marry 7 or 8 different versions of this person, even if that exactly isn't true, you still think you get married young and y'all are both perfectly healthy. Well, then there may be something happen and one person could be unhealthy. And when you got married, you made a vow to be with them through sickness and in sickness or in health. But even as those things happen, you still have to choose to love that person, and you're going to have to change your life to accommodate these differences. So I just think it's very interesting how people choose to do that. And because like I said, I didn't have a good example of that. So it's very interesting to me to see it. So yeah, like I said, I still believe you keep Jesus in the center of your life and your relationship, he brings you together. There's like a diagram that my pastor, he's showed it in church on the screens several times and talked about it, that your relationship with God and your spouse is like a triangle, with God being at the top, and the closer that you and your spouse draw to God, the closer you draw together. And I 100% believe in that. So like I said, I got married young, and yeah, the trouble with not having a good example of marriage scared me a little bit at first, but I believe in my pastor's preachings, and I do believe that as long as you keep God the center of your marriage and the center of your life, it'll stick. So yeah, but still very interested in the book, and it seemed very sweet, so I'm excited to read that. Now, for the fourth book, about a year ago, I sat down, well, actually Caleb and I sat down and talked to someone in our church, and we began talking about books, and he gave me a bunch of good book recommendations. I've already read one of them, and it was amazing. I loved it so much. And so I've been kind of on the lookout for the other books that he recommended me, and I found one. So I was at a thrift store with my mother, and it was like maybe 2 weeks after Valentine's Day, and I found it for like, let me see if it says how much it was. I think the hardcovers were like $1, $2 max. I was so excited. I saw like this of it. I was like, that sounds familiar. I looked at it. I read the little part on here, and I was like, yep, that's it. So this is Shadow Divers by Robert Kirsten, the true adventure of two Americans who risked everything to solve one of the last mysteries of World War II. Now, from what I was told of the book before reading the summary, before finding the book, was that, remember, World War II, Germany was invading everyone in Europe, left, right, and center, but they stayed in Europe. And I don't know if we actually had conversations with Germany, we as in America, but there was the thought of, like, if you study, like, the domino effect and everything, the reason why we helped to stop Germany, as well as the whole fight with Japan, was we don't believe in fascism, whatever he was. We don't believe that form of leadership is right. And if you let one government take over the whole world, eventually they'll come for you. So the reason why we've stepped into wars before is because we know that if they take over this country and this country and this country and this country and this country, eventually they'll come after us. Even though they're not coming after us now, we've got to stop it, nip it in the bud, so that they don't come after us. So we kind of posed the question, will Germany try to invade us? At what point will they try to invade us? And Germany was like, we're not worried about you. We just want a little bit of land over here in Europe. And now we got it. Well, now we want a little bit more. And we got that, but just a little bit more. So that's kind of how that's how Germany was playing it then. And, we had the whole trouble with Japan. They sneak attacked us. And although there's questions of whether we knew about it, but I'm not going to go all conspiracy theory right now. Just, putting that out there. But, Germany was like, don't worry about us. Look back at Japan. And we didn't have any boots on ground fighting in America. We sent all of our people overseas. But there was the thought, I wonder if they'll try to get us next. But not too worried about it. Well, years later, I believe they're amateur divers. Not amateur, like they have a lot of experience diving, but it's not their day job. Like I think they did it as like a little side hustle. Not a side hustle, but just like a genuine hobby. Well, they're diving 60 miles off of the coast of New Jersey. Okay, 60 miles. Sounds like a lot. It's really not a lot. When you start driving and you like, oh, it's this many miles to this place, like, it's not a lot. Okay, 60 miles off of the coast of New Jersey, they find none other than a sunken German U-boat. Now, why, might you ask, is there a sunken German U-boat 60 miles off the coast of New Jersey? Great question. Would love the answer to that. Somehow Germany catches wind of this and they're like, that's our property. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Don't go near it. Don't get anything out of it. Don't touch it. It's not your problem. We definitely weren't looking to invade the United States. Us, we would never. We're not worried about you. So, they don't listen. They're Americans. They don't listen. They go down there and I think they find some form of identification from one of the crewmen. Like, they see the remains of the crewmen still in the U-boat. And I think they go so far as to, like, tell that family what happened, because this U-boat was missing. So, like, the families of the missing crewmen were never told what happened to their family member. They are MIA, missing in action. And so it was real closure to the family members, potentially children, brothers, sisters of these, because this happened in 1991. So the close family members that potentially knew this person personally remembers them. It's not like, oh, that's my great-grandfather I never met. Like, no, knew them personally, very much could still be alive, and finally get closure for what happened to their family member. So that's very interesting. When he told me about the book, I was very interested because I love history books, particularly war history, particularly from World War II. And I just think it's interesting. Like, the what ifs around war is also very interesting to me. What if Pearl Harbor was an inside job? What if 9/11 was an inside job? No, really though. Like, what if Germany had tried to invade us? What if they kind of gained a little headway and took over a few states? What if, what would be the effects today if Germany had invaded us? And the fact that they had a sunken U-boat 60 miles off the coast of New Jersey, it's a little fishy, okay? So, I thought that was very interesting. Now, in the tradition of John Krakauer's Into Thin Air and Sebastian Junger's The Perfect Storm, I don't know how to say those last names, comes a true tale of riveting adventure in which two weekend scuba divers risk everything to solve a great historical mystery and make history themselves. For John Chatterton and Richie Kohler, deep wreck diving was more than a sport. Testing themselves against treacherous currents, braving depths that included hallucinatory effects, navigating through wreckage as perilous as a minefield, they pushed themselves to their limits and beyond, brushing against death more than once in the rusting hulks of sunken ships. But in the fall of 1991, not even these courageous divers were prepared for what they found 230 feet below the surface in the frigid Atlantic waters 60 miles off the coast of New Jersey. A World War II German U-boat, its ruined interior a macabre wasteland of twisted metal, tangled wires, and human bones, all buried under decades of accumulated sediment. No identifying marks were visible on the submarine or the few artifacts that Chatterton and Kohler brought to the surface. No historian, expert, or government had a clue as to which U-boat the men had found. In fact, the official records all agreed that there simply could not be a sunken U-boat and crew at that location. Over the next 6 years, an elite team of divers embarked on a quest to solve the mystery. Some of them would not live to see its end. Chatterton and Kohler, at first bitter rivals, would be drawn into a friendship that deepened to an almost mystical bond of brotherhood with each other and with the drowned U-boat sailors, former enemies of their country. As the men's marriages frayed under the pressure of a shared obsession, their dives grew more daring, and each realized that he was hunting more than the identities of a lost U-boat and its nameless crew. Author Robert Kirsten's account of this quest is at once thrilling, emotionally complex, and written with a vivid sense of what divers actually experience when they encounter the dangers of the ocean's underworld. The story of shadow divers often seems too amazing to be true, but it all happened 230 feet down in the deep blue sea. So, very interested in this book. I was very excited when I found it. Very excited to read it, as I am with all of these books. I've been off to the side. I'm sorry, in this video, if I've not been centered, I don't think I have been this whole video. I apologize. I'm very sorry. But anyways, I believe that is all for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see